Welcome back to the channel. As you can see, we've removed yet another engine. It probably took me 2.5 to 3 hours to remove the engine. It went a lot smoother than what I thought it would, because there isn't actually a lot of space in between the front of the engine and the rad pack, so this is a bit tight, and the main problem was the prop shaft. And the reason why we have removed the engine is because we need to replace the chains. And now there's nothing necessarily wrong with the car. It runs fine, it doesn't rattle, it doesn't do anything weird. But the owner wants to do some preventative maintenance because the car is coming up to 100,000 miles on the clock. So that is a good point where you should probably change your chains before they start failing and causing other issues. And now that the engine is out, we can have a little bit of a closer look, and I can already spot that the wastegates on the turbos are blowing, both of them. This is a pretty common issue on these bi-turbos. I'm not too sure if you can get just a repair kit maybe, but knowing Audi, you need to buy both turbos and it'll cost you an arm, a leg, and possibly a kidney as well. But anyway, we'll see what the owner decides to do with that. if I have to be honest, this is probably the cleanest 3-litre diesel I have removed. Mainly because there is not a single external oil leak really. I mean, except maybe the rocker covers a little bit. But again, not really, well, yeah, a little bit. Yeah, they're a little bit leaky, but that's fine. So, the plan is to take the subframe off, take the gearbox off, turbos will be coming off, and once all of that is off, we'll be able to remove the what they call rocker covers, intake manifold, and then we'll be able to get down to the timing chains. We'll also probably be doing carbon cleaning. I'm not too sure yet. I'm not sure on the full scale of this job, but it will probably turn into absolutely everything because the owner wants to take care of his car. We're also going to be resealing all of this on the front as well. There's a gasket behind this plate. It's quite a big plate. We'll be getting a new water pump, oil filter housing, and you have to buy a new filter housing because you can't get the gasket for it separately. Don't ask me why, that's just how Audi does it. But yeah, looks clean so far, but we'll see what it looks like inside. I'm not expecting to find any broken guides or anything because it doesn't make any noise, so it should be okay. So I think that's enough talking. We're going to start with removing the subframe, and then after that we'll move on to the gearbox. Well, no, actually, I'm looking at this and probably a smart idea to remove the turbos first because they kind of take up a lot of space. So yeah, we'll probably start off with taking the turbos off, probably the wiring loom, and then once the wiring loom and turbo is off, we'll probably then move on to the subframe and then the gearbox. But we'll see how it goes. Let's crack on. The first thing I'm going to start off by removing is the wiring loom, which is a lot easier said than done because there is a lot of different sensors and plugs that need to be disconnected. But once all of them are disconnected, we're able to remove the whole wiring harness and put it to the side so it's not in the way. So I've got the majority of the wiring off, but we can't take the loom off completely until the subframe is off because the wiring goes underneath the engine mount down to the gearbox as well. So I'll have to stay like that for a second. DPF is coming up. Too much on your plate. I'll keep hiding, calling out your name. So now that the wiring loom and the DPF is off, I can move on to removing the turbos. And as you can imagine, it being a bi-turbo, there's quite a lot of different coolant hoses and oil feeds and oil return pipes. And not to mention, the turbo weighs probably a good 20 kg, and that's not even an exaggeration. It is a pretty heavy unit. But once that is out the way, we'll be able to move on to taking the subframe off, and from there we'll be able to take the gearbox off as well.
got me out in the open. Now I'm ready to dive in. I know you told you it would be a slow burn. Beating, hiding, I've been calling out your name from the darkness, thinking it's too late. If you're faded, I've been too much.
So we got the subframe off, gearbox is now supported, and now I can work on taking the starter off. We have to unbolt the gearbox oil cooler so that we can access the flywheel bolts, and then once those 6 bolts are out, we'll be able to start undoing the bell housing and separating the gearbox from the engine.
I'll keep hiding, calling out your name, calling out your name, calling out your name, calling out your name.
So before we're able to separate the engine and gearbox, there is 6 bolts holding the torque converter to the flex plate, and to be able to unscrew these bolts you have to spin the engine over a little bit until the bolt is visible in the little service window. Once it's in position, you're able to simply unscrew it and repeat that 6 more times until all of them are out, and after that all that's left is the bell housing bolts. So now that the gearbox is off, we have a lot more access. But the next thing to do is we need to remove the rocker covers so that we can take these plates off. So we've got to remove all the injectors, fuel rail. So a lot of work to do. And here we are. Rock covers are off, manifold is off. I took this plate off as well so that we can remove the rear timing cover. The valves are pretty dirty. If we walk over to our parts shelf, this is the state of the manifold inside. I've seen worse, but it's still not really what you want. Especially this. Yeah. Yeah. That really doesn't look good, does it? And all of that carbon buildup is because of this wonderful EGR system. But now that both the rocker covers are off, we are able to remove all the other rear covers on the back. Yeah, that's not a good start, is it? But let's carry on. We'll take the flywheel off and then we can take the rear timing cover off. Usually this crankshaft trigger wheel just pops off, but this one was covered in loads of excess thread locker, so because of that it was stuck to the rear cover, so it was a bit of a nightmare to remove. So the reason why there was so much slack in the timing chain is because the tensioner has actually bled back all the oil that was inside it, and the spring that is inside the tensioner wasn't able to push the little piston out to tension the chain. But once I put a little bit of pressure, the spring did manage to hold it back in place, which isn't really a big issue. If anything, this would just cause a bit of a rattle on cold start before the engine builds up some sort of oil pressure. Well, now we can start removing the timing chain and all the timing chain guides. And the first thing you need to do is lock the crankshaft, lock both camshafts, lock the high pressure fuel pump and balance shaft as well. I'm using drill bits, but you can use whatever you want. I'm sure someone in the comments will say that we shouldn't use drill bits, but guess what? They get the job done, so what's the harm? This particular generation of the 3-litre TDI is pretty simple. We've just got one big chain that drives both camshafts and balance shaft, and then a shorter chain for the high pressure fuel pump and oil pump. All of the guides for the camshaft chain, they just slide off. You don't even have to undo any of the bolts, so that saves a little bit of time. So good design from Audi, well done. All of the plastic guides are in pretty good shape considering the mileage, so you can definitely tell that the owner does frequent oil changes, which is really good. I've got all the chains off, I've cleaned all the silicone off, I've used some brake cleaner to clean all the old oil off, and now we can have a look at all of the new parts. So we have new guides, we have new sprockets for the balance shaft, both camshafts, and a new sprocket for the fuel pump as well. We have new tensioner. What's this? Rear main seal? Yes. We have new bolts for all the pulleys. We have one new chain and loads and loads and loads and loads of seals. What do we have in this box? We have the front main seal, injector bolts, we have filter housing in here, seals for the rocker cover. We also have these ones as well for the fuel rail. We have this big gasket that's on the front. Rocker covers. This is going to be a lot of looking and finding parts. I think before I start, I'm going to try my best to organise all of these parts because it's going to be a bit of a nightmare. So I've got everything sort of organised a little bit. This is the main things we're going to be needing for the timing chain. But one problem, we've managed to order all of this, but we forgot to order the chain for the fuel pump and oil pump, so that's not good. So we're gonna have to carry on stripping this engine instead of slowly putting it back together, but no biggie. it'll come tomorrow, so we'll just crack on for now, taking the EGR and oil cooler and everything in the middle out. We're going to take the EGR cooler, EGR valve off so that we can get access to this coolant changeover valve and the oil cooler in the middle, because both of those things are leaking. I'll show you now, but you can't really see, but shortly you'll see the mess that is inside of there. And then once that's off, we can move on to taking off all the stuff on the front as well. With the EGR cooler off, we can have a little bit of a closer look, and yeah, that is leaking coolant, and we also have some sort of oil leak, and that's probably from the gasket that goes underneath the oil cooler. But now we can access this clip, because to remove this whole front piece we need to be able to access this. So now that that's off, we can carry on. And now we have 2 million T30s to undo. Always helps when you take all the bolts out. And this is what we're left with. We're left with a big mess. So I'm gonna start cleaning this, and I'll come back after it's all nice and clean. I've removed the high pressure fuel pump, and I removed it because There's a lot of oil back here, but the seals for the oil cooler were not actually leaking. Well, at least they didn't look like they were leaking enough to have all of this oil. And on the fuel pump there's a gasket there, but after looking a little bit closer, it doesn't actually look like it was leaking from around here. I believe it was actually leaking from this bolt, because all of these have thread locker on them so that the oil doesn't pass through the threads, but this one looks like it's been leaking oil slowly over time, and that's why there is a puddle there. So this is where part 1 is going to end, unfortunately, and in part 2 we'll be cleaning all of the parts in the aqua blaster, making them look virtually brand new again, which this machine is really good at doing. And in part 2 we'll be assembling everything, we'll be making sure everything is clean, we'll be doing walnut blasting on the intake valves, we'll also be putting on brand new turbos, because the owner did decide to replace them. So if you're curious about how good the engine will look after all of the time spent on it, keep an eye out, because part 2 should be coming sometime next week. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in part 2.